and that's worth keeping in mind too. I wonder if he's going to be the one leading up this ban phase. Probably not, but let's see where we're going to play. We jump into it. Ban phase will whittle us down. Let's just find out. Coastline still in here, so it could be that. And there it is. Okay, Coastline over Cafe here, as per SSG's wishes. So we know where we're going to be going. And Coastline as a map is not necessarily... Well, it's good for Space Station, and over for eUnited, they haven't really played it very much recently, so there's not a lot to say about eUnited's record on the map, but it's a good map for Space Station. And you know, they really couldn't have gone wrong. See how Cafe was the last ban there for SSG? Cafe is also a really good map for SSG. I mean, they were presented with two good options, and they went with I guess what they think would be better for this matchup.
I mean, that's a pretty decent map for eUnited, so I can understand why you'd rather take them to a map that they don't have a record on. But it is kind of funny to see this might be one of the first repeats we're seeing for a team now that the auto bans are out because of SSG playing Coastline last time. I mean, I'm not sure. It might not be, you know, this might be the third one for sure, because I didn't double check that. But it is interesting to see that teams are taking advantage of repeats when they can now. I don't think that's going to be a problem, like a constant thing that happens, but it is definitely, you know, hey, SSG, like, oh cool, we can play Coastline again, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, and that win over Dark Zero on Coastline was pretty impressive in the last North American Playday, and that's not the only team that they've managed to beat on Coastline, not even from North America either. So if you look at the record, actually, SSG over the last few months or so beat TSM at the 6 Invitational in a best of 3 on Coastline. That's that 7-1, and we were talking about that last time when they were matching up against DZ. They did lose to TSM in Pro League on this map. And then prior to that, they managed to beat Tempo Storm 7-2 on this map. So good record for Space Station overall. The only thing that causes me to hesitate to call this a good pick for SSG is the fact that they played it in the last Playday. And that's a really fresh VOD for eUnited to be going over, scouring for information and trying to get an edge over their opponents. I imagine eUnited put in that practice, put in that time to get something out of that advantage.
And to contrast that, of course, eUnited, there's no VODs of them playing it, so that Space Station doesn't really have an intel edge there. I mean, I got to imagine Space Station are possibly looking to say, okay, let's try and refine some of the things that we played on Monday and see if we can play them a little bit better. If not, we'll treat this as a scrim and learn from what eUnited bring to, you know, maybe some weaknesses or other things we can work on. Because eUnited as a team, on the leaderboard wise, is not a huge threat to them, right? They're way down there in 6th place, so it's, you know, they could take advantage of this. I mean, they're not literally going to treat it as a scrim, but in a way it will act as one in terms of, let's just try some stuff out, some tweaks. We've seen them do, for example, when they went to Clubhouse recently against Tempo Storm, they played very differently than they had in the past, and I gotta imagine that was a similar situation where they're like, let's try some different things out now that everyone is so focused on our top floor roam strategy. Let's play a little bit differently. So I imagine we'll see a little bit different things today, but also possibly building off of what they did Monday.
I would argue that Space Station actually is going to be putting a lot into winning this one, just because they can... It's possible for them to make it to first place. Although it does rely on TSM tripping up, I do think that Space Station is gunning for that. I think today will be the answer to the question, is Space Station going for first place? It'll all depend on how they show up for this match. And yeah, I think that innate drive to win that we see represented in Space Station's gameplay is going to push them here. I think that their willingness to put it on the line to get to that first place is going to be highlighted here. But there's also to be talked about eUnited's contribution to this matchup. I mean, they are not a nobody team. They are not just a pushover squad. They could absolutely do some work here and bring up some big numbers. I mean, they did manage to draw DZ earlier in this season. In fact, just 2 play days back. But we'll see. What do you guys think? Who's going to win this match? Bring up the community vote and we'll see the answer. I'm pretty sure this is going to be, very one-sided.
Not a huge surprise. I mean, you're looking at what is right now technically the best team in the world on Space Station, so fair enough, especially against a team that's not exactly dominating Pro League in North America. So it's pretty fair here.
The weird thing about that is, again, and I talked about this briefly earlier today, but it's the question is, are we ever going to stop talking like a match like that? Talking about a match in that way, I mean, because today is a lot of matches that people are probably going to have pretty one-sided opinions on. But let's go ahead and load into the match. Coastline with Space Station starting on defense, eUnited on attack. The ban phase will kick off.
What will we get ban-wise?
Lion.
Well, interesting start at least.
Yeah, all right. So Lion being banned out there, and I mean, it's not a crazy ban for Space Station. It's their own. It's one of their primary bans on this map. Now, of course, eUnited doesn't have a history of bans in recent times, so we don't really know what to expect. Capital banned out, and they'll be very quick with their defender ban. Maestro. Okay, so for Space Station, they typically ban Maestro and Valkyrie on this map, so you can expect this to be a Valkyrie or an Echo. But we've also been seeing people divert their bans that are common to other things because of the 20-second meta. So this could be something new. No.
Nope.
It's just going to be the Valkyrie. They'll full commit to it. So, ban phase done. We know what we're going to get ourselves into in terms of the operators in this match.
Yeah, I mean, the SSG's bans especially make sense in terms of the way they want to play. They want to play flexibly on roam. So they're going to get one of the roam denial operators out of there, because I imagine they're probably not as worried about, say, Jackal or Dokkaebi, which, of course, United's possibly going to bring now. But they also don't want to have to deal with runouts and things like that from having Valkyrie cameras outside, as well as having to look for those. So I imagine there's a chance they might not run IQ, for example. But they will possibly have to deal with Echo, so they still might have to do that. Call out teasing, yeah, not going to play the Blitz. Canadian on Pulse, though. Always a good show on that. And we'll start on Fireball sites.
Yes, Pulse is an excellent operator, not only in Canadian's hands, but for the site that he's bringing it to. And yes, they'll be going to the Double Bar. This is their best bomb site on this map. We saw that highlighted in their match versus Dark Zero in the previous week. Or not previous week, but previous play day. Parker and I were talking about that. How we did we did it week by week for so many years, and then suddenly it's like 2 a week, and you forget that you can't call it week anymore. You have to call it play day.
Yeah, it definitely throws you off, especially when you're only doing half of them. Yeah, you're doing like all the NA, but like I'm only jumping in on the second one of the week, so it throws me off even more.
I bet. It is a little bit weird, but. Yeah, like I said, SSG, this is their best site. They go here not most frequently. Their most played bomb site is definitely Kitchen, but this is their second most frequently played bomb site, and they're definitely their most successful by far.
That window there, the Black Mirror, will be interesting in terms of trying to stop them from pushing in through the doorway. All the problem being, it is a tight spot back there, so if no one's playing back there and they know it, it's not like a spot you're going to be able to rotate too easily, but wow, an early kill on the Pulse. Fantastic job. And it's funny too, because that is, you see so many Ashes enter through that doorway. It's such a typical play. Like, how would you not be expecting it at this point?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because Canadian was standing in the middle of service. We actually got to see it from the top down. Alfalma droned in Grixer, who managed to just light up Canadian, who was completely exposed to the doorway. Odd situation for Canadian to find himself in. I guess he didn't hear the drone. It happens. But that's early lead. Spot. Yeah, it is. It's a very typical take there from eUnited, and that is again, yeah, it adds to the confusion for sure. So early lead for eUnited. They put themselves one man up, but they're not going to snowball it. They're just going to take it, pause, and look for more opportunities.
Well, there's a lot of angle holding while they hope players walk into them. Droning at least coming out pretty good from eUnited, making sure that they're being a little more careful. They also have the Dokkaebi calls to make the logic bombs to, as you see right there, so that those drones will be able to get a little more intel. Nice open walls you saw up there, along two sides of the wall. Alfalma, though, find the second kill in a ramp. So that's 2 important players down already. United on a nice starting lead.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good right now for eUnited, to be honest, and there's not much fire back from SSG. So it's just the roamers dealt with, though. Now they have to deal with the anchors. And there is that mirror to consider, but with the vertical control, it probably won't matter. C4 going off and not hitting anyone. I believe that was Bosco, so it has to have been. Electronics trying to be dealt with there by Alfama. I believe it's a bulletproof camera. It's going to be hard to hit that on the angle.
Yeah, he's got to hit the side of it, but I think he's too high. You have to hit it with an even more shallow angle to be able to pop that, I think.
Ooh, Grixer sees the barrel of the Jaeger pushing in the hallway. This is the freest kill he's ever seen. He'll get one and the second. That's his third for the round. Bosco, the last one alive, will have to ace. Yeti has been downed, but he's getting picked up. Run out from Bosco. And he doesn't full commit. Not detected, luckily for him, but very close to a kill and not getting it. Unfortunate, but it's a flawless round for eUnited to start this match off.
Just so many positions of players on defense trying to stick in positions they think are safe. Like, for example, you saw the barrel of the gun. Just really unsafe play from SSG in terms of standing in positions where they didn't actually have a lot of security for each other. And also the good pinch there. You saw that fight, for example, on Cool Vibes going on while they had the push from Grixer coming up. And a 3K from him, I mean, obviously a lot of good droning as well as the logic bombs helping get intel for those pushes. But just, again, a lot of unsafe play from SSG. The Lion Ban only does so much to let you move around the map. When there's good droning going on, you got to do a bit more. We need the Mute Mozzie in addition to the Vigil if you're going to be trying to play like that.
You got to remember also that eUnited plays relative to the amount you expect them to lose. So if you think eUnited is going to lose a match, the more you believe that, the better they typically play. For example, in their Dark Zero match, it was actually a draw, a 6-6, almost a win for eUnited. And I don't think many people expected them to bring it that close going into that match. But they've got an opportunity now to actually get a win, and it's a good start to do so, that first round. I don't expect SSG is going to be making some of the major mistakes they made in that last round anymore, though. I mean, I don't expect it. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. We saw...
True, 10 seconds to go. They have switched bomb sites at least.
That's true. They moved over to the kitchen, which is their most frequently played bomb site. Not their best statistically, but it is definitely a good bomb site for SSG.
With the Doc, they're also going to be playing a little bit more long angles, which, you know, might be a smarter way to play it back a little bit further, so they're not as exposed. But Canadian, again on the pulse, hopefully going to stand in a lot safer position. And as a pulse player, too, he's usually very good at covering his flanks, make sure he's not overexposed, so that he could be on that pulse play for a long period of time. So that was a little baffling last round. I would hope he wouldn't repeat that, though.
These barricades on the doorway are actually going to be a large impediment for eUnited. It slows you down. It gives away your position. Pulse will take off Forrest's head, and suddenly we are in an SSG lead situation. That's a much different picture than the last round.
Yeah, I mean, good early use of that Doc. He's going to continue to peek probably a little over-aggressively, but if he survives it, it's really going to delay them in trying to get that lobby. I imagine he's also going to get some intel occasionally from the pulse of Canadian, but this is where he starts to get pressured on the reload. Fortunately for him, he manages to survive it, and he can even dock himself back up.
A very big win there. That's the second kill. Canadian goes down as the first death for SSG once again, but he's the only one so far for United. And since Fultz has been putting up those numbers by security, there's still a lead for SSG. Fultz also playing Doc, can heal himself back up. He's probably still got a stim left over after that engagement. I believe only one shot from the DMR was really landed. Possibly two stims, we'll see. SSG just gonna wait this out. There goes another stim there for Fultz. He'll be peeking into the hallway. Callout has taken security, and he could flank around Fultz at any time, but Fultz is playing by reception now behind the desk, so he's not exposed to the angle. And United seem to want to shift focus primarily over to the kitchen side. Now, the tricky bit about this is they haven't cleared above. There is a player above kitchen window right now for SSG. Fultz finally eliminated in the main lobby. That's big. But there's still another player in the main lobby by the staircase. Possibly thinking nade? Not really sure. Can't see from the silhouette. Meanwhile, it's a push in through kitchen. The plant's going down, and Grixer's there to cover. The run out from front is successful for Rampy. Diffuser goes down, though. SSG now need to retake in the post plant. They have man advantage. This is not going to be an easy task, that's for sure. Richter needs to full commit to one of these angles, and he will, but he'll lose the fight to Bosco, leaving just Callout in a 1v3. He gets 2 big kills, and now he can reposition. Thinking Noid on full HP, and he's got enough time to make this fight happen, but he has to go now. He cannot linger. Callout will die to a single bullet. It all comes down to the pre-aim, and there it is. Thinking Nade clutching up big for SSG, and he will have time to disable that diffuser.
Overall, that was still a pretty decent round for Callout in terms of being able to get in, get that plant down, and then get downs in the process. I mean, that for a statistically worst player on the team is definitely a much better round for him. A good flank. The players of SSG were maybe a little too spread out and getting caught off guard a lot, but the fact that they burned 2 minutes from the dock in the lobby and then still had a player inside the lobby to deny it after that, really good at just completely denying any entry from that side of the map. Problem is, they didn't have good coverage of the bar side, and then being able to sneak in through the kitchen like they were, forcing Bosco off of his position. Normally he's there to guard delivery, and all of a sudden he's flipped around, fighting the other direction against Callout. So good clutch though by Thinking Nade. That's really what mattered in the end, is that he was able to clean up what the other 2 players weren't able to do. But luckily they'd also done damage to Callout, so they had really kind of set up Thinking Nade to be able to make that clutch. We'll see them try bar again now that they have success on kitchen, although just narrowly so.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
So, double bar as the next bomb site. Again, SSG not faring well here last time. But, I mean, you and I both know, Emzo, that was a pretty... The way that SSG played that round when they were on kitchen, they really didn't go through the steps, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they just took advantage of a hole that they saw, and we're like, you know what, let's go. Just get it, let's take it. And that wasn't the wrong call. They managed to get the plant down and almost effectively defended it. The problem was, you know, they weren't manpower-wise prepared for that retake.
5 seconds to go.
So, the mirror windows are going in different places this time, it seems. Bosco's put 1 inside a kitchen to assist that roam for Canadian. Canadian has switched off of the pulse into the mute, so he's going for information denial more than information gathering, and that's a key difference there for SSG. It's also worth noting that Dokkaebi is unbanned and has been played by eUnited for many of these rounds, and mute, of course, counters Dokkaebi by auto-hanging up those phone calls. So I think that's a really smart pick from Canadian. I think changing off of the pulse into the mute at this point, especially considering he hasn't had success as Pulse through the first 2 rounds, is really wise.
Yeah, the only thing to watch out for here is that Rampy is now on the Vigil, which can be spotted by Alfama on that IQ, so he's going to have to be smart in how he plays it. So it works in combination with the logic bomb, so when people are answering their phones, you will be able to see them on the IQ scanner, so there's definitely some good roam hunting capabilities here, but I do think picking the mute is a much better choice, especially since Canadian hasn't really been all that effective on Pulse, dying very early in the round, and the droning from eUnited has been relatively good.
Speaking of droning, they'll spot out Rampy in the projector hallway. He'll use his ability and fall back. Along with Thinking Nade, the duo roam, duo room, make their way back. Well, they are in a room. They'll make their way back to the main lobby, and they'll start pushing back to the bomb site in all likelihood, as they've now wasted a decent chunk of time from eUnited. So, eUnited has top 4 control, but it cost them half the round. The big question is how much use can they get out of it? It's possible quite a lot, but that's on eUnited, of course.
It is surprising they're not going to bring the buck. That's something that Yeti, for example, likes playing quite a bit. But instead, they're just focusing heavily on the Dokkaebi. So the roam control seems to be their priority over that vertical destruction. I mean, they still have plenty of utility for it. But it is surprising to see a team that generally runs a lot of buck avoiding it here in this situation.
Looks like their focus is on breaching charges right now. And it is working. Lots of holes opened above the bomb site. But I agree with you, buck is typically really good. Flank cam being watched, and the duo retake on the main staircase will be monitored. SSG's positions called out, and eUnited will point their guns in the right direction, but they'll lose the fight to Thinking Nade, who gets refragged by Alfalma. There's still one roamer, though. Alfalma knows this. He's holding the angle, and he wins another big fight. That's huge. He just single-handedly shut down the flank based on his teammates' calls. Great round from Alfalma, regardless of if his team loses or not. Canadian will get Forrest. Call out from above onto Bosco. It's a constant back and forth, but here's the kicker. There's only 15 seconds left. The plant has to go down, and it has to go down now. There's still a smoke in play, possibly a C4. The drop from Alfalma is caught. Here comes the push from Callout. He gets one, needs to find the other or go for the plant. The open angle wins the fight. Incredible shot from Callout. A round that SSG very easily should have won, but Callout landing his shots when it matters most.
I feel like Callout is a little mad at me for calling him out, and now he's trying to make up for it because he's playing a much better match than we're used to seeing from him. But that's good to see, though. I like to see the slackers picking it up. You know, it's good for United as a whole.
Yeah, that's honestly, I was seeing that situation as an absolute win for SSG, whether it be because of the pushover by the exit and the fact that the last two attackers were stacked up in a position where they were unlikely to be able to plant, or because Alfalma got caught as he dropped, I believe by Canadian on the long angle. But because of that open angle and because Canadian didn't hit his shot,
Need to locate and
well, I mean, it goes the way of United, and that's two really big rounds now for United that I didn't see them winning on what is prior to this match. What was, I guess I should say, SSG's best site statistically, the double bar.
Yeah, that really should have been an SSG win. Honestly, they overpeaked it a little bit. They should just let the plant go down, especially when in a 1v1. But I think we also saw a problem for eUnited time management-wise because they were using the breach charges. Not only did it take longer to open the floor, it took more manpower to do it. Because with the buck, you just slam open the floor single-handedly. But you saw that it took two people going with breach charges to open up that much of the floor, and that burned a lot of their time. The only reason they were able to get it that close is partially because Alfalma was really fighting off the flanks that were coming to try and stop the downward pressure, thinking, oh, they're distracted with the breach charges, let's push them now. His ability to hit those shots and get those 2 kills, and then the fact they were able to get 1 kill from above. So there's a few factors that worked in their favor, but if it comes to bar again, like it likely will, they're going to have to be a little faster, I think, to pull that off a second time.
Alfalma trying to hold down angles inside a penthouse. This actually could work out for him. The fact that he got on that angle quite aggressively and early, it's unexpected that he'll linger there. He's just holding it until his teammates drone it out. And you can see after that's been droned out and said called to be clear, he'll start moving. And yes, indeed, he's going to change his position now. Or maybe drone something else. eUnited, once again, just focusing on clearing out top floor before they start their attack onto the bomb site. Bomb site is on the top floor. That just means that it's going to be primarily a horizontal take. To be considered, though, is that there is a pulse below, so they'll have to worry about that. Oh, it's worth noting, and we didn't take note of this earlier in the ban phase, Habana unbanned on Coastline. That is very rare.
Yeah, and you can see why just a moment ago when you saw the ex-Kairos go across the courtyard onto the wall of the little cocktail area, or as you in Terra like to call it, pink.
Well,
he's going to be opened up. I know. It makes sense for him.
No, it makes sense for a lot of people. It's just, it doesn't matter, right? You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't. But yes, the bar is going to be opened up there, and as well, the VIP wall. And that's why Habana gets banned on this map. She, as a hard breacher, is all you really need here, even though this is typically a map you can play without a hard breacher.
Just for this site, really, is where you're primarily going to get the most use out of it, because that spot is very difficult to fight, especially if they're running a shotgun. You can also clip smokes through the wall, as Bosco will have to do, or through the drone hole, to be able to fight the default plant spot. So, nice kill by Bosco, though, speaking of him. He's actually not going to be on the smoke for once, giving that over to Fultz. And then Fofosan take it down 2 onto Bosco and Canadian. Good pushback here from SSG and EU.
Flank watch is in hand for eUnited as they get rampy. And now it's a 2v4. Forrest is on low HP, though, so this is definitely winnable for SSG. Although, as they continue to get drones, since there's plenty of time for eUnited, it's getting more and more difficult. The best thing you could have right now as a defender in a 2 versus 4 is not having your position popped or known to the enemy. Thinking nade below, needs to deny the plant, sees the holes, but the planter has moved. That's a good call from whoever made it on the attack. Plant going down now, perfectly covered. Call out safe on top of billiards. It'll have to be a retake. Thinking nade's not even going to start it until he breaks the window, but oh, opportunity missed. If he had just been standing up there, he would have seen somebody. But that is now past. Thingy with the run out. Now Falma shuts him down. eUnited. Great control there. And good execution into Aqua.
Well, overall, eUnited looked very good on this map. That was a much better round on what is, or maybe used to be, it's hard to say if things have shifted, the primary bomb site on this map. I mean, Hookah was kind of the site to play. And that, honestly, and I've been talking about this recently, how a lot of teams have switched to putting a lot more pressure on Hookah itself, and that was starting to shift the wins on that site. But that was actually an Aqua take into Billiards, and it worked partially because, as you mentioned, the call out to move the plant from the default spot, that's part of what saved it there. Had they been able to get the kill on the planter, of course, that would have really slowed things down. But then again, the man advantage was so strong from some of those middle round kills that we saw that really made it difficult for SSG to push back. And honestly, they're kind of running around the map trying to control it sort of strategy isn't working out that great, despite all the different ops. They're trying to bring some info denial ops, like Mozzie being played that round, playing the pulse to get some more information. A lot of the stuff that SSG is doing is just not really working as consistently as they would like, and they keep shifting around trying to figure it out. And honestly, I'd almost like to see them just pick an info denial strategy and stick to it.
The thing that I'm noticing here most of all is SSG continues to try and retake top floor. They'll come up main stairs as a solo or as a duo, and they'll try to gain control and take the fight to the enemy. And every time they attempt that, they lose 1 or 2 players. Basically for free, because eUnited has got an iron grip on the staircases. They get control of the top floor, and then they keep control of the top floor. They don't let it slip away. So I'd say that, yeah, there needs to be some changes for SSG in the way that they're playing, and these early picks that United continue to get can't keep happening. Speaking of, yeah, there goes Fultz. That's your ACOG, and it's your meds gone for SSG.
Well, these have been really great entries from Grixer and Alfama overall. These two just doing a great job getting in and getting those entry frags, continuing to give themselves early man advantage, and then, as you said, those retakes, making sure those last few men sort of towards the middle of the round are being lost by Space Station. They need a better grip of the top floor when they're playing on the bottom, and the bottom when they're playing on the top. Really, they can't seem to regain map control, and we're not even seeing like Nomad and Gridlock really often to stop that. I believe we did see a Nomad once, I think. But it's
even seeing Nomad, but I mean, it's not been the air jabs that are getting the kills.
No.
Yeah, it's just eUnited holding angles and waiting for SSG to push into them often on those flanks.
That's the value of good flank watch, though.
Yeah, and United certainly has that in this match, and they've been really punishing SSG's defense. Space Station needs to take at least one more round out of this half. We've seen them play on attack. I think, if I recall correctly, I believe that they are really good on attack of this map. So this might change once the halves swap. But I will also say that you don't want to. Obviously, you don't want to end in a 5-1 in your first half, no matter the side.
Yeah, and what worries me about their attacks is how sloppy their defenses have been on SSG. It makes me think, they're just kind of having one of those sloppy days where they're not really all kind of gelling as a solid team. So that could really not do well. Attack especially, you need to be well coordinated.
Well, this has been a little bit of a slowdown from eUnited. They're setting up the pincer. They've got a complete surround on the bomb site. There are some things working for SSG though. Ooh, that phone call will give away Bosco, and he doesn't make it out alive. Alfalma shutting him down. Forrest in and ready to plant, but there's Canadian stepping up in the site. The entry from service is going to work out for Alfalma as he gets his 3rd kill. Forrest shut down Canadian earlier too, so it's just Rampy. And now he needs to stop the plant and kill 3 other people at the same time. Post plant now, 1v4. Almost unwinnable. Rampy, though, if there's ever anyone you want it to be, it's Rampy. But he won't get any. And Alfalma, what a round. I believe a 4K there. eUnited will take yet another attack on Coastline.
It's funny, too, because Alfalma last play day on Monday was statistically by far the worst player on the team. And today is just complete opposite of that. He's really showing up. I mean, obviously, when you're an import player, you really want to make sure you show up for your team because you've been brought all the way from another region, and you want to make it look worth the while versus just picking up some, NA Challenger League player. So he's definitely doing that today. We will see possibly a little change up from Yeti if he sticks to it.
There's not just the fact that an organization and a team went out of their way to bring you all the way across the world, but there's also to keep in mind that Alfalma himself had to uproot his life and go to a different part of the world and change so many different little things about what he does on his daily routine just to play for eUnited. That's worth keeping in mind. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you and I both, we've lived in Europe, we've lived in North America and there's some stark differences, some little creature comforts that you miss when you go from one to the other, things that you're raised with and you just can't find here. You know what I mean? And
yeah, very true.
Even little things like that, that's got to weigh on Alfalma because that's a sacrifice he was willing to make just to play for this team. And it's so far, in my humble opinion here, it's been a really big payoff for Alfalma. And I know eUnited hasn't been winning, but Alfalma's been proving himself time and time again.
I definitely think eUnited as a team, though, has shown they're a pretty good team, despite some of the losses. I think they've showed a lot of potential. They've definitely had some weak days, but overall, days like today are the eUnited we're hoping to see a lot more often. I mean, like you said, attacks for Space Station could just be completely dominant, and they could just sweep completely on the attack side. But these
Here
attacks,
we go. Looks like a rush for any United up blue stairs, and here come the kills for SSG. Call out response. But there goes Grixer on the stairs, thinking a big position by Vase, and he manages to shut that down with his teammates. Very important 2 kills there for Thinking Nade. Those could have changed the outcome of the round had he died in that heads-up engagement versus Grixer. Callout knows he's not going to be able to win this, or at least, well, I mean, he's been clutching, I suppose, through this match. He has a suggestion that he won't be able to win this, but he'll certainly try. Sorry to cut you off. What were you going to say, Devin?
No, I was saying it's looking pretty good for United, but then that's quickly looking wrong after this round, the way it played out.
Yeah, I guess they saw that they were winning the half, and they're like, let's just do something crazy, see if we can break their spirits, and well, it didn't work.
No, and there's no point in just taking time to discuss with your round too much, or your team during this round too much, because this is their last attack. So it's not like they can really be like, okay, well, let's attack differently this next round, unless they want to talk about the defensive round.
Yeah, but at the same time, they don't have anything to go on. So
yeah, this is just aim practice at this point for Callout, trying to pad his KD as best he can.
He's getting flanked right now. There's a bullet hole in the wall there, but shots missed from Thinking Nade. Again, he is being flanked by 90 right this second, and it'll be the player from 90. Nope, Thinking Nade gets the kill, actually. From the drone hole. Oh boy. No. Oh, no, Thinking Nade. That's a nasty one. That's actually a pretty common angle that you'll see used to hold VIP push, but now the whole world knows.
Yeah, that drone hole is definitely a great use. Drone holes in general and a lot of maps are kind of underrated. We've seen some great plays from them. I think it was Latin America yesterday. There was one drone hole in particular. I'm trying to remember the map, but it was just constantly being abused to get kills with the TCSG. The TCSG is so deadly through drone holes because it only takes a few toe taps to just kill someone.
Yep. If you just hit one shot under their foot through a drone hole, if it's at close range, then you basically lose them their next fight.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's rough. That's a rough position to be in. Just off of, oops, I stepped in front of a drone hole.
Speaking of TCSG, we're actually going to see the first one of the match here. Finally with a Goyo, and then Wamai and Alaway. So a very, very different defender lineup from eUnited. I can have those extra shields for this play here. And then Wamai and Jaeger to make sure that those stay alive. As well, they're going to have some holograms there, just watching the entry. Make so those pre-fires identify with... I mean, it's not going to be a huge surprise where they're outside, but making them get marked definitely just helps slow them down a little bit. They're also going to have, I believe, an extra deployable shield I think I saw from maybe Alfalma. So this is looking very... more turtley, I would say, than what we saw from SSG's very roam-heavy defense.
They still have that roam set up on the top floor, but it's a directly above roam. Now again, I did say that Space Station has pretty good attacks on this map. Let's see if that holds true in this match.
We're seeing them run the Dokkaebi as well.
Yeah, I mean, when available, she's a really potent operator. Especially on Coastline, she'll accelerate your roam clear a lot. And with the DMR changes, I think she's become much more viable.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely a strong map in particular.
Entry here for SSG. Fault sees some damage from below. I believe that's the alibi of Alfalma, who is dead now to Bosco. Alfalma looking up, Bosco looking right into his eyes, and there you go. eUnited down a man. So the attack, whether it be SSG or eUnited, getting those early kills is just a repeatable offense. So no, run out from Forest, Rampy goes down, and we're back to an even man count.
It's an important kill though. That was on the buck. I'd trade the buck for the alibi at any point. Like especially when they're gonna possibly get top floor control and be able to fight downwards on kitchen. A really good early kill.
Absolutely agree. There goes the shield in the doorway to kitchen. It is a Goyo, so it will slow things down, but it doesn't really matter. We're about halfway into the round. Not going to be time that SSG is worried about. They still have to focus on clearing out roamers. There's still people above for United. One in Aqua, I believe that is. Yeah. Someone in Aqua, and I believe another above the bomb site. It's Yeti in Aqua. Brickster has dropped. He was playing above. SSG really not having the best round in terms of roam clear so far, to be honest. They've got control
really
of Sunrise.
A long time.
Yeah, they've got control of Sunrise, and that's it. Right now.
Yeah, not looking good with only a minute left really to do this, and they've got shields potentially still left to deal with, as well as a lot of those Womai discs that are being put up late.
Lots of damage incurred there for Fultz. I believe that was Callout's Goyo, and yeah, I think he just landed one shot there, and now Fultz is like nearly dead. Did eat damage earlier in the round, but still. Hassan will get another. That's Forest. SSG not really in a position to do much of anything. The detection there from the alibi, and Prisma will get a kill for Yeti. That's huge. You don't really see those detecting marks actually be impactful typically, but they were there. Bosco and Fultz, the last two attackers, make that just Fultz on low HP, and he's flanked by Yeti. eUnited will take their first defense round. And, well, I mean, this is honestly looking a lot like eUnited just walking away with this.
It really is looking like SSG are just far less coordinated today. It's just, they aren't really fighting as much as a unit. You saw a lot of those pushes into the map that they were able to get in the first 2 minutes were just individual players sitting, like, for example, in Sunrise, and just kind of waiting for the rest of their team to get into positions to get map control so they can start to execute. It just... the coordination isn't necessarily there, and they're also getting picked off by things like runouts, like Rampy did. It just doesn't seem like they're kind of, you know, when you see a team really like on their game, they're on it, they're playing not necessarily hyper or aggressive, but very in control and confident. I'm not really seeing that from SSG today.
Yeah, they don't have both of their hands on the wheel. They're not solely focused on the road. It's just, and it's not. They're distracted. It looks like SSG is distracted. That's how I would describe it right now. But also, and this is worth keeping in mind, I think this is very important, eUnited is playing well. Very well, actually. Their hold of the site has not just been solid, it's been prickly. When SSG starts to approach the bomb site, they do get, they do take some damage before they can even get into contact range, where they can start fighting their anchors. When it comes to the roam clear, eUnited is being really slippery. Super hard to hunt down. SSG is droning a lot of the round away and still not finding the roamers. And yeah, I mean, part of that is due to SSG's poor coordination so far through this match. But you also have to give credit to eUnited for really stepping up when they have the opportunity. And well, they're very close to getting their, I believe, their first win of the second half. Yeah, it would be, because they've got a draw against DZ and everyone else they've been losing to.
Well, we know how it goes, right? If they win, if eUnited can win this, they're officially the best team in the world, right? So
yeah, that's exactly how that works. Thank you for clarifying that, Devin. Make sure everyone knows that now. So if eUnited wins, they are world champions, actually.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing Fabian's already retired.
Oh man. Yeah, the world champion title just gets hucked around. That's how that works. We're just gonna throw it all over the place.
Yeah, you just borrow it for a brief period. We will see Bosco actually switch over from the Dokkaebi to the Jackal as well, which is, I think, an odd choice because the Jackal is going to track one player at a time, whereas the Logic Bomb can potentially, help you find multiple players at the same time if you're droning properly. So it's just kind of an odd choice that we haven't necessarily seen him have a lot of success on. The difference now, though, is you do get the smokes, which I don't believe you get on Dokkaebi anymore since the whole frag grenade switch back, I think, doesn't get. But honestly, I can't even remember at this point because they've switched around those like hot potatoes so many times now.
I think that Dokkaebi has nades and smokes, but I could be wrong. There's the first kill for Canadian.
The Maverick.
I don't know. I don't remember. There's the first kill from Canadian onto Forest. Yeti followed up by SSG. Now they've got a decisive lead in this round after clearing out the roamers upstairs, but also punishing one of the anchors. United is going to have to fall back now, and they will have fallen back to the bomb site. So this is the best round we've seen from SSG so far, and it's looking pretty solid. All they need to do is transfer this into a site take, and we all know they're plenty capable of that, especially with this top 4 control and enough time to open up holes.
Yeah, plus they've got the buck, so they don't need to work with just breach charges. Although they didn't get as much value out of it last round because, of course, Rampy died early due to the run out. But 35 seconds left, and they're still opening holes and not really getting kills. They are forcing rotates at least, but they've got to do something to get downstairs. And this is where we see a little bit of desperation sometimes on those rotates down. You see Alfalma was prepared for a window push, but not prepared for someone to sneak into the doorway while he was watching there.
The push from the staircase is going to be stopped by Grixer, but he has to find 3 more, and he's not going to be able to. SSG will lock that round up tight. And also, to answer your question, Devin, I'm pretty sure it's stuns and smokes now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've played Dokkaebi, so I'm not really 100%, but I would guess it's probably stuns and smokes.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the smokes were lost for grenades. Or no, it was just people would choose the grenades over smokes. Yeah, so I think you're right.
Yeah. It was nades and smokes, and then they switched up. They gave those to Maverick, and then And then I'm guessing it was just a trade back for Maverick because he had the stuns. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we just don't see a lot of smoke Dokkaebis these days because there's so much utility to clear out. We often are seeing flashbangs instead.
Honestly, like a lot of the time when smoke is brought, whether it's Dokkaebi or any other operator, they're used to clear out ADSs or my discs or what have you. You've got to hurl anything that's not a grenade into that until you can get the grenade to the shield. And we've seen that actually quite a lot, where teams on attack will bring a lot of flashes or stuns or whatever you want to call them for the sole purpose of clearing out ADSs. Anyway,
I wonder if they're going to need some other gadget for that at some point.
Maybe like a secondary gadget that works in a similar way to Thatcher's EMP or something. I don't know.
Well, we will see just one shield this round from Callout on the smoke, bringing that because they don't bring the Goyo again. I believe they've only brought it 1 round so far. They are going to switch bomb sites, though, and they're going to be up in Hookah. And they're going with the Mute Mozzie combo, so that should help the roam game a little bit, especially with, no Dokkaebi being brought here. Just the Jackal, meaning they're just going to have to get into the map, start looking for those footprints. And that's going to depend on good initial droning, which is, of course, what Mute Mozzie does a good job denying. So,
E4 goes wide, and it hits the doorway, but doesn't get anyone. Doesn't even get the drone. If you're wondering why, it's likely because of the wall, probably blocking the radius of the explosion. That'd be my guess. It looks a little bit weird, but I guess it makes sense. Not like in real life logic, but I guess in game logic it makes sense.
We have the new shrapnel changes too that are kind of a little bit different in the way explosions work.
Yep. So nothing really happening early on. Lots of engagements, or at least lots of pre-fires from both teams, but no actual kills coming out yet. It is a billiards defense here for eUnited. Spacestation look like they want to clear out from below. Very spread out Spacestation once again. A vaulted through blue bar has been droned in, but he'll lose the fight to Yeti. Folds on the floor now. Great awareness from Yeti, landing his shots as well. Has to have heard this player rotate into exit. He's getting aggressive, and it's not been spotted by the Buck, but Rampy's just better. He'll react and get the kill. Alfalma has moved his way into Sunrise Bar and can get this refrag. He will. There you go. Rampy goes down. Alfalma, though, caught by Canadian on a very long angle outside of the blue bar window. So SSG will not let that one slip away, despite losing the first player in that long engagement. We hit the last minute now. There's still a chance for eUnited, but it's going to get real bad as Forrest is eliminated in the main lobby.
Well, so far, looking pretty bad for SSG in that they've lost two of their strong fragging players, and Fultz and Rampy are the top killers for this team. Bosco and Thinkinade, though, are no strangers to a clutch. So as long as Canadian can support that clutch attempt, they do have at least potentially those smokes if he's bringing those, plus the air jabs to be able to kind of secure the defused plant, assuming he has any left. But 45 seconds left to actually make that happen. They only got to find two players, but there is toxic gas to be thrown. I believe he's got all three in his pocket, so this is just down to as long as they coordinate this well, they can pull this off, I think.
Gas canisters coming out. There's the first one. Oh, this will be big. Call out has been spotted now, and they know exactly where the smoke will be playing for the duration of this engagement. No actual fights coming out yet. Stuns on into Hookah. Full blind Grixer. Stunned call out as well from the lifeline. Gas canister number 2 goes off, but there goes call out as they rush through the gas. Grixer holds his flank, but he needs to stop the diffuser now. It's being covered well by Bosco and planted by Canadian. Bosco going into the hallway. Grixer cannot stop it. Now he'll have to take the post plant. Free fire through the wall. Canadian's on the other side of that wall, so he will not be exposed to that angle. Peek into the hallway, does not catch the enemy. Bosco playing on the other side of the door. Barrel spotted. Free fire's easy there for the Jaeger, but he doesn't land the follow-up. Canadian with good reactions, and SSG will take the round, bringing it very much closer to a tie, although we're not there yet.
Yeah, it was definitely a decent round for SSG. It was unfortunate they got down to a little bit ahead of time, or behind on time, I mean, trying to push in. But it's Canadian and Bosco. You know, name a better duo for planting than SSG's Canadian and Bosco. Just one, you know, Bosco will cover, Canadian will get the plant down. It works, you know, most times. But overall, it's still a little bit of a sloppy round and losing too many of their fragging players early. Rampy, I mean, having a rough day overall in this buck. He's just getting shut down a little too often. But at the same time, it was a really good play by Alfalma creeping into the Sunrise bar with the cover of that gunfight going on with Yeti. And just completely unexpected to Rampy. You know, Alfalma stands up and just slaughters him because neither of them saw each other coming. I mean, Yeti didn't see Rampy coming either. It was just a lot of game sense not really being on point today for some of these players.
It's been a really weird match, to be honest, for both teams. eUnited started this with a pretty large lead. 4-2 coming out of the first half. That's a substantial advantage over SSG. And not only that, but it really did look like eUnited were going to be able to lock it up, considering how SSG was playing in the first half. Even at the beginning of the second half, SSG was struggling. And that thought process of, oh, well, this is over. SSG's having a bad day. eUnited's having a good day. That kind of is starting to get, I guess, proven wrong as SSG starts to ramp up their attacks. They're reading eUnited a lot better now. It's a very different match just in these last 2 rounds than it was in all rounds prior.
I'm honestly still seeing it likely to be a tie, though, just because I think eUnited are possibly going to get one of these next maybe 3 rounds.
Well,
just because SSG hasn't been, even when they've been winning the rounds, it hasn't been like dominating performance or anything.
It's very likely that at the least eUnited will get a draw out of this, but I mean, they might get the win still. Who knows? Bolt's opening up the window, but he just wants to do that to distract. Rampy takes down Alfalma, which is big, as Alfalma's been a top performer for eUnited through this match. Now top control is the focus for SSG. They've almost got it locked up, but not quite. They'll spot out Grixer inside a penthouse. That's really important. His position now given away. You can expect SSG to try and collapse on him, but they're going to get Yeti as they attempt to cut off Grixer. Boris trying to assist will get Rampy, but he's lost a lot of HP. And there's a nice shot from Grixer. Huge, absolutely huge kill there. And he'll fall back into the main lobby and get away from that engagement back into sight. He really should not have been allowed to get back to sight in that situation.
Yeah, this is already looking good for potentially EU comeback. I mean, yes, they've lost the Demazi and the Alibi, but taking down again Rampy and Canadian, who were definitely important, is a good early pick, especially if they could take down Fultz as well. Then it just comes down to Bosco and Thinking Nade trying to get a plant down. And that's going to be difficult. At least there's possibly still some shields left up from Goyo and then some Wamai discs and Jaeger ADSs. So it's, they're going to have trouble even getting a smoke off potentially.
Saw there, Fultz open up above the reception desk so he can push down the main stairs without having to worry about it as an angle. Smart. You scan here from Bosco. He just barely lost the red footprint on the Jaeger, but still some good detects here. Forrest goes for the run out and is caught in red by Bosco. That was a really ballsy play for Forrest, but it did not work out for him. And now eUnited, a man down in the last 40 seconds. SSG has control of main lobby, and it looks like they want to go for service entrance. Finally get the cam. Diffuser's still down upstairs. It'll need to get picked up. There it is. Thinking Nade on that task. He's only got 25 seconds to make this push happen. It's going to come down to Fultz and Bosco pushing in through the bathroom. Oh no, there's still a Goyo shield. That's huge. That could change the outcome of the round solo. Oh my gosh, this is going to be massive. They'll have to run through the fire in order to get that plant down. Meanwhile, Grixer in the hallway will shut down the push in from the main lobby. The shield plus that denial from Grixer could win the round for the defense. Impact's coming out from Callout, but Bosco's winning the fight against Grixer as he attempts to flank, and the plant is going down. Post-plant now, and Thinking Nade takes it. Space Station, another round, and they're getting closer and closer to actually winning this thing.
Well, honestly, I don't think SSG should have won that, but good smoke coverage ultimately is what won it for them. Having those smokes, Bosco being able to cover the plant like that really made the difference because they had so little time left. But at least it was a secure position in terms of angle, and just they weren't really able to do much to counter it. I really do think Forrest's run out, though, was ill-conceived, as he's not exactly been top fragging. I mean, you take some of the players that can really land those shots, like Alfama going for a run out, for example. Like, okay, I can see that. But Fofos on there has not exactly been on top of his shot. So losing a man to that was definitely not the play. They could have had a little bit more advantage and been able to possibly lock that out. But I did like that the Goyo shield was there to deny towards the end. It wasn't enough. They really needed just smokes going out, like to make it so it was just an inhabitable environment to push into.
I'm with you on being surprised that was a win for SSG, to be honest. There's so many layers to that were going the way of eUnited, but ultimately the way it ended up panning out, yeah, I mean, it just favored SSG for, I guess, Bosco winning gunfights, or I don't know. Like, that's a good job to SSG for clutching it up, and props to them for that. I'm more surprised, though, by eUnited not being able to hold on to it. Grixer cutting off the rotation of Fultz in the main lobby was huge, because that made it a one-dimensional attack for SSG. But then the Goyo shield somehow had less effect than it really should have. And something that I also think is really important that we didn't touch on, Bosco's smokes in that round were pivotal. His smoke prevented a retake directly from eUnited and allowed for that plant to go down very cleanly. And we don't see many smoke plants. It's in 2020, smoke plants are just a rare occasion, and they happen for sure, but very rare. But when they do happen, they tend to work pretty well.
We saw a really good demonstration of that from Bosco at the USN finals. Him and Canadian did so many smoke plants, and Bosco was always on top of getting that smoke down just right. And so I think, yeah, it's nice to see him able to do that here in Pro League as well, because you're right, we don't see it all that often anymore. He's very good at making sure it gets done, because he doesn't die early. Bosco's very good at being around for the plant, and I think that's very important for someone who's carrying smokes.
Absolutely. So, we're going to the double bar now. 5-5 here. That's definitely a really impressive comeback for Space Station. I should state, however, that we have only seen 3 defensive wins, I believe, in this whole match, and that's worth keeping in mind. This is what an angle from Bosco. That's just nasty. It's slimy and ugh, but
it's ratty.
It is, yeah, as they would say in North America, it's ratty. But it was a really impressive angle. I would have loved to have seen something happen from that, just because it's always cool to see those things work.
Well, unfortunately it doesn't. It just burns a little bit of time. But speaking of time, only about a minute left here. And no one's really had any engagements yet. They're just now starting to open up doors to look for footprints. This is a bit slow. And with Alfalma on the Echo, we know he's a very good Echo, as Milos likes to tout. And so if he could stay alive long enough to do something on the plant attempt, this could easily be an eUnited round.
Well, it's very slow going, and yeah, the longer this round goes on, the more value the Echo has. The mute also very important here, as he's delaying information gathering just by having those jammers placed earlier in the round. Top 4 control for SSG, but no actual real pressure applied to the bomb site. Where's the take even going to come from? Where's Space Station trying to hit this site? What's the plan? You're hitting the 25-second mark and there's still 5 people alive? This is going to be absolute chaos. Here goes the plant, though, from Canadian. No one's watching this. Alfalma needs to get on his yokais, but he doesn't see it. Bolt shuts down Alfalma as he pushes into Sunrise, and Canadian's got it in a post plant now. SSG get the freest plant of this match, and now eUnited have to scramble to retake their own bomb site. Inside of the site, Canadian will shut down Fofo before he can get the C4 off. Yeti drops into open, and he'll get a nice angle onto the blue bar, but lose it to Canadian, who's putting up big numbers right now. Grixer shuts him down finally. 2v2, but that post plant working so well for SSG. Call out on low HP, he'll have to work it magic to win a gunfight, and this long angle from Thinking Nade, oh no, he'll shut down the cross, and there's another. SSG, a beautiful execution with only 20 seconds to go.
And that's why you put Thinking Nade on flank watch. He's such a beast at that. But man, I was just talking about it, the Canadian Bosco smoke plants, and you had a great demonstration there. Obviously, he didn't smoke off, everything, but he smoked off enough of an angle for them to not be able to see in from the courtyard and get that plant down. And there was good coverage as well from Bosco, with his gun to make sure no one rotated in. But wow, just no one was expecting that blue bar push. I mean, they spent forever just getting into the offices to be able to take that. It just seemed like so much attention was put into the bar and kitchen on the Sunrise side. eUnited was not prepared for that. And now the guaranteed 1 point for SSG. So eUnited now finally on the back foot of this, they're going to have to try and fight for this tie. Now SSG seems to be firing on all cylinders after these last couple rounds. It's going to be harder for eUnited to pull this off here. So they're going to try and bring out a wild card for Fofosan. That might not be the play. That might just reek of desperation there. But at the same time, if it works and gets them the draw out of this, that'd be a pretty big deal, especially if it's the play that makes it happen. But again, they're going without the Goyo and instead just going with the one shield from Callout. So we've seen that quite a bit from them, just bringing the smoke shield. They always, generally, you don't need more than 2 sets of barbed wire, and they have enough of those. I mean, it could have been Alfalma to bring the shield and Callout to bring the barbed wire. It was interchangeable either way. But they only have one C4. And, I mean, that's not great when you want to be able to play from below on this site, if you can, just because, the common plant spots and things like that, you can get those C4s out. So we'll see if that makes a difference, later in the round. But on the attack side as well, you've got 3 sets of flashbangs and grenades, and then the smoke for the cover. So far, the smoke's been working out. Even if Bosco's not necessarily jackal tracking a ton of players, it's the smoke that matters more.
And the jackal tracking, when it comes, has actually been pretty useful and for SSG. That last round was really impressive. I just gotta say, the way that SSG surgically and especially quietly cut off a part of a site to then plant in, where eUnited, they had no idea. eUnited was not aware of that plant attempt. And the ability for SSG to go for that in and then also cover it with the Russian from Fultz, I mean, I'm just impressed by that, I gotta say. That's last round. Here in this round, it's a take on the top floor for SSG. They want to clear out the roamers over by Penthouse. They know there's some over here. Gonna be the Jaeger of Grixer playing in Projector. The dangerous position Projector. And, he almost got caught off there. But he will actually. The second layer of the cutoff for Thinking Nade will be successful over by Luggage Repel. Don't usually see that as a position played, but it worked out for Thinking Nade.
I mean, it's good to at least manage to get a kill in the first half of the round. But now they've got to find Fofosan on this just super long roam. Now Wood Barricades actually could work a little bit against him right there, depending on how he wants to play in blue bar. Yeti
hitting a nice shot there onto Fultz through the drop down. And yeah, he did take a lot of damage, but he got the kill, and that's what really matters.
Yeah. Fultz hasn't exactly been pivotal in a lot of these rounds on attack, though. So maybe that hasn't really, that might not affect them too much.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Yeah, I mean, Fultz has been playing a very particular role. It seems like they're using him as a bit of a wrecking ball. And a lot of these rounds, what he'll do is he'll rush in as Ash and just try to be a distraction and get a kill if he can. But if he dies, that's fine because his job is not seen as pivotal. I think SSG is using him as like a feint, if you will.
Yeah.
Like SSG is going to be focusing on opening up the bar. There's nothing to stop that. Bosco get a nice angle and a call out. Well, I mean, the angle was there. Call out peaked it, and now suddenly you've lost your smoke in one of the last round of the match, and one of the most pivotal moments in the last 30 seconds. No more gas canisters. That's crucial to the outcome of this round, and it's most likely going to be an SSG round because of it. But there's only 20 seconds left, and, well, it could be a clutch in those dying seconds. There's nowhere you can really plant that the defenders aren't going to know about it on this bomb site. That's a big kill, though. Thinking Nate gets Fofos on. Bosco adds to it. It's just Alfama. He'll have to stay alive for the next 5 seconds. Takes the hallway into VIP. Wins one gunfight. Low HP, though. He'll die to a single bullet. Can he do it? No. Space Station will take the round and the match in a 7-5 close one. But what a comeback from them.
Very slow start for SSG, but like you said, once they get on their attack side, that's where they shine. And this is, an attack-heavy map, obviously. It's one that does benefit. What's that?
Okay, Rampy. Impressed, man.
Rampy needed to maybe step it up a little bit today. He wasn't having the greatest day, as you can see, but it's a weird day when you see Rampy bottom fragging and Thinking Nate and Bosco as the top frags on the team. It's just a real reverse.
It was a weird match. For sure. But, I mean, the Space Station, once again, managed to win a match that I think people didn't expect them to win. Well, sorry. Everyone expected Space Station to win the match going into it. But we got through that first half, going into the second half. Was it 5-2 at one point? It was a 5-2 lead for United that ended up turning into a win for Space Station.
Well, they only lost their one of the attacks, the very first one, and then just won 4 in a row after that. That helps.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very close to a mirror have, and that's when you've got one team getting the same rounds on their defense as like another team. We almost had that situation pan out, but it didn't because United couldn't win more than one defense.
Yeah, I mean, they got close a few times, but definitely it was more the clutch players like Thinking Nate and Bosco just doing their job really well. As players are dying around them, Fultz and Rampy, they're the entries. They're the ones who are supposed to be getting the kills. Yet all they were really doing is that kind of wrecking ball sort of thing you mentioned, where they're just kind of coming in and either distracting or at least baiting out players, even if that wasn't their intended use. And then players like Bosco and Thinking Nate really taking advantage of that.
Well, we've got an interview with SSG, and we'll find out their thoughts on that match overall, as impressive as it was. Hey, Lycan, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
I'm just dandy. Well, that was yet another 7-5, which is, if I'm correct, the only scoreline you guys have had for this second half of the season so far, despite them all being wins. It was a very close one. What is happening where we get to that situation in every one of your matches?
I'm okay with people memeing us for 7-5s over people memeing us for ties, so I'll take it.
That's a really good point. It's definitely going to get you a much better result. So speaking of a much better result, you guys right now, after TSM's loss to Reciprocity in the last Playday, are actually starting to close in on that first place. Is that something that you guys are consciously gunning for, or is it just we happen to find ourselves here?
No, I mean, really, we're just kind of like focusing on ourselves. With them losing, obviously, that's like what if? Let's do the math, But I want to be honest, like a lot of like my family members and stuff have talked about us getting first, but I don't think that TSM will lose that many games. Like I think we're just too far behind personally. But it would be really cool, obviously, to take the top spot, and we're gonna just try to keep winning, and whatever happens, happens.
A healthy way to look at it. So yeah. I had messaged you, and I didn't get the follow-up, but may as well use this as an opportunity. The exact setup that I wanted to ask about was that one over by the double bar, Sunrise and Blue Bar, because we see you guys pull the same setup pretty much every time, where the mirror will go unmanned, and the mirror locations are dynamic, can be moved, but The key thing is the way that the top floor is set up with all those open angles upstairs. So what I was wondering was, who started that, and why are we seeing it be prevalent in many other teams in North America apart from just you guys?
If I remember right, it was I think it was the old Nobles team that started it, like a long time ago.
That's ages ago, yeah.
We used it basically. We actually used it basically because of this team, because Yeti used to have teams who would isolate take hookah, and then they would just straight buck down for hookah and go for red bar takes. And it was too hard to like try to retake into hookah if you didn't initially have it. So that's the kind of setup that was designed to beat, like Yeti's old buck play on that particular site. I don't know necessarily if, like, obviously they were doing different stuff today, so it didn't really work as well, but it was like an old Noble strat.
Yeah, they had a really specific counter to that setup, and it was working pretty well. So, well, it's been a really good season, or really good second half for you guys. My question is, and I know the memes aside, what has changed in your mentality where the way that you end up winning these matches is typically as a comeback or a response or reaction? Because I know what it's like to be the difference between like a team that's just winning rounds outright, like putting up the 7-1s, putting up the 7-2s, and then the team that's reacting and adapting in the middle of a match to be able to win a match in the end, but have to come back from it because you're learning from your enemy's past rounds. What is going on there that's translating the enemy's play to your win?
I think a big portion of it is we are forfeiting the side choice pick, because last half we never got any decision. We actually were forced into whatever the other team chose. This half we get decision every time, and we've been electing to be second banned, so the other team gets side choice. So every team's getting basically the side they want first, so we're having to play from behind. But yeah, we've always been an adapting team, but I think that's the big reason why you see us fall behind early, is because the team, if they prepared right for a map and they can guess 2 or 3 of the maps that we'll go to, they know that they're getting their side preference first. So that's probably why.
Well, that is very enlightening. Thank you, Lycan. Is there anything you want to say to everyone watching before we end the interview?
Same thing I always say. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I appreciate it. Whatever team you follow, thanks for being here and supporting Pro League, especially North America. Yay. Other than that, make sure you guys are staying safe, stay inside, be healthy. Thank you very much, everyone.
Stay safe too, Lycan. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.